Where does love come from? The brain? The lungs? The kidneys? No, it comes from the heart. You know the heart emoji? How come people send the I heart emoji you? Nobody sends the I brain you emoji. I kidney you emoji. I lung you forever and ever. I colon you for the rest of my life. No, I love you. I heart you. You're in my heart. Nobody says you're in my colon. You're in my lungs. You're in my kidneys. Some people might say you're in my brain. But that never seems to be like a good place. You know? Like, I can't get this person out of my brain. I can't get him out of my mind. But when someone's in your heart, oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel that. I have so much love for you. I feel you in my heart. Welcome to the Weekly Transit, your guide to understanding the current planetary and astral alignments. Together, we'll explore how to harness these cosmic frequencies, empowering you to reach your highest potential as you navigate the days ahead. I'm your host, Scott Tajarian. Welcome to the Weekly Transit. This is the week of July 21st to the 27th, where we will be covering 8 transits highlighted by the Sun and New Moon in Leo. So 8 transits highlighted by the Sun and New Moon in Leo. Couple quick announcements. I'm back on with Delisa on Tuesday. I hope you're enjoying my conversations with Delisa on her YouTube channel and her Facebook. Well, actually, no, just YouTube this week. In August, she asked me to come back in August. Very grateful to Delisa. We're gonna be live on YouTube and Facebook in August. So I hope you're enjoying my conversations with Delisa. We're getting like a really great crowd every week. It's live. You can be active in the chat, ask us questions, dialogue with us. We're having a lot of fun. I hope you're enjoying it too. The other announcement, was there another announcement? Maybe not. I think that's just it. Yeah. My mind is playing tricks on me. It's Mercury retrograde. And so my mind is all over the place. How's your mind doing? How are you enjoying this Mercury retrograde? I guess one thing I wanted to mention is I've been doing a lot of writing. I've been putting out a blog post every week. I'm emailing it, so if you're on the email list, you can catch it there. And I'm posting it on Substack, so if you haven't subscribed to my Substack and you're interested in doing so, you can do that. I'm also recording it for Substack because some people don't want to read. They just want to hear and listen to my beautiful voice, share the words that I'd like to share with you. I'm also starting to read this on the podcast too. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying it. I've gotten a lot of positive comments, so you're encouraging me, and that feels good. So let's get into the week. The first transit is Venus in Gemini squaring the North Node in Pisces. This is from Sunday to Wednesday, July 20th to the 23rd, with the exact square kicking off the week on Monday, July 21st. Venus is the goddess of love and beauty, the planet of relationships, transiting through the mutable air signs symbolized by the twins and ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication. Venus in Gemini is bringing about a greater sense of curiosity to those that you're in relationship with, whether it's a lover, a friend, a business partner. There is greater curiosity, variability, and spontaneity is being invited right now in relationships. How can you do things differently? Can you open up? It's about getting unstuck from the stagnation that you're feeling in your relationships. Now, the square to the North Node retrograde in Pisces, the North Node is the soul's purpose or the karmic pathway of the soul. Pisces is the mutable water sign symbolized by the fish, ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams, Jupiter, the planet of expansion. The North Node in Neptune, really urging us to let go. To let go and let God. You know the phrase, let go and let God. Let God do what God needs to do. Stop trying to control everything. And this square to Venus in Gemini is encouraging you to let go with what you think you know in your relationships. There is always more to learn from your partner, your lover, your friend, your business partner. So rather than trying to control the conversation, be open to the flow of where the conversation takes you. The more open you are to the flow of where the conversation takes you, the more seamlessly you will transition into this week. Be mindful of any guilt, shame, regret, or blame that comes up through these conversations. Is there a question that you want the answer to that you're afraid to ask because you'd feel guilty asking it? Is there a question that's been asked to you but you're afraid to answer because you feel guilty of what the answer would be? This is a time to soothe yourself, to be compassionate with yourself, to understand that your answer is not wrong and your question is not wrong. If someone is offended by your answer or your question, then they're meant to be offended. It doesn't mean that you should try to offend them. But we're tugging back and forth between the light and the weight. The light and the heavy. The light and the shadow. I think a Gemini is like the lightest sign. It's very curious. It's like, oh, what's that? Oh, look at that. Okay, wow. How'd you do that? Whereas Pisces is diving to the deepest part of the ocean. There's a lot of pressure. It's heavy. It's dark. So we're finding the balance between the two. The question is meant to bring us into the light, but through that process, we might go to a dark place. If you end up in that dark place, show yourself compassion and show empathy to those who are involved in whatever you're experiencing. The second transit of the week, the sun, the giver of light, life, and vitality, transits into the fixed fire sign symbolized by the lion and ruled by the sun. The sun is home. The sun is back where it belongs, in the sign of the lion, Leo, where it will remain from Tuesday, July 22nd until August 22nd. The sun transits through Leo every year from around July 22nd to August 22nd, 23rd, depending on what time or where you are in the world. This is your time to shine. This is your time to be the center of attention, to follow your heart, to follow your bliss, your joy. I was just watching some old videos of Led Zeppelin and looking up the astrology of the band members, and such an interesting mix because John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page are both Capricorns, and John Bonham, John Bonham, He was a Gemini. Yeah, wow. No wonder. Super coordinated, amazing drummer. But then you have Robert Plant, who's the Leo, the ninth house Leo. He's up there. He's like the prophet. But he always, had like that shirt open, all those pictures of his shirt open, and he's like leaning back. It's like heart forward. So where are you showing your heart? What do you enjoy? What is fun for you? What makes you want to tear your shirt open and say, yes, look at me. This is a time to be playful. This is a time for romance. Let's remember that Mercury is retrograde during this period, and Mercury will be in its retrograde shadow at the very least through this entire period. So yes, romance, but no lifetime commitments unless you're already committed. Unless you're already in the relationship. If you're meeting someone new, then keep it light. Mercury's in Gemini. Bounce around, feel the love, and then see where you land when the sun transits out of Leo and Mercury out of its retrograde shadow. So it will transit out of Leo on August 22nd. It will transit out of its retrograde shadow on August 25th. Mercury retrograde ends on August 11th. For those that were born with key astrological points or planets in Taurus or Scorpio, there may be challenges for you during this period. The Scorpion wants to be in the cave, hidden. But the energy of Leo is drawing you out into the light. Whereas Taurus, the bull, wants to be on that cool grass. It might be getting too hot with that sun. The middle of summer, the sun in Leo. Let's think about some other Leo energy here. How do we recognize and embody this Leo energy? Let's see. Who are some other Leos that are good mentions? Oh, that's interesting. Alison Krauss, who Robert Plant, I think they won a Grammy together. They did a duet, full album. Really great album. Alison Krauss and Robert Plant, both Leos. Interesting. Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton are both Leos. Wow, and their sex life came out into the open many, many years ago. Mick Jagger, another incredible frontman, is definitely showing that Leo energy when he's on the stage. Yeah. Jackie Kennedy Onassis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, both Leos. Arnold liked rolling around in his Speedo, showing his chest to everyone, his muscles. Jerry Garcia, another star, somebody who would be on the stage. Everybody loved Jerry Garcia playing the guitar. Amazing. Singing. Such a stage presence. Who else have we got here? James Hetfield, another lead singer of Metallica, another guitar player. Man, a lot of performers here. Big performers. Tom Brady, the famous football player. Billy Bob Thornton. Louis Armstrong, playing that trumpet. Barack Obama, another president who's a Leo. Lots of Leo in the triad of recent presidents. Whether it's George Bush 1, George Bush 2, Donald Trump are all Leo rising, and then Clinton and Obama are Leo sons. Whitney Houston, incredible. I watched a documentary on Whitney Houston, And the person who was playing the drums in one of her tours said that, man, when she would sing and she'd take that breath, he was like, I just look at her back, and her back just like opened up. That's the heart. And I swear, no one has ever sung the national anthem in a more inspiring, moving way than when Whitney Houston did during that Super Bowl. I think it was like 1991. I've never heard anyone sing the national anthem like that. No one's even come close. It was like one of the craziest things I've ever heard. Incredible. Joe Rogan and Dana White. They kind of feel like doppelgangers to me. And both really command the stage, command the attention. They're both Leo suns. Ben and Casey Affleck, the Affleck brothers, are both Leo suns. Movie stars. David Crosby. I mean, my God. A guy with long hair who's bald and a mustache, and like nobody can stop looking at him. He's just draws the attention. So talented, incredible, man, amazing. But that's the power of Leo. Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro, Julia Child, Steve Carell, Madonna. And can Madonna command a stage? Does she have stage presence? Sean Penn, Robert Redford, Patrick Swayze, Matthew Perry, John Stamos, Don King with his crazy hair attracts all the attention. Wilt Chamberlain, Tori Amos, Lane Staley, lead singer of Alice in Chains, Dua Lipa. Yeah, quite a list. A list of people that know how to draw attention to them. So think of those names when you're thinking of Leo. And really think about what you can do to shine. What you're doing to shine. It's interesting. I always used to get Al Pacino and Robert De Niro confused when I was a kid. And Al Pacino's a Leo rising. Robert De Niro is a Leo sun. So, yeah, Leo rising. People that are Leo rising, they really, they I think they're more self-conscious than they may let on. They want they want to look their best, and so they're showing that sunlight. I think of Anthony Bourdain, was a Leo sun, and it's just, you think about, like, it's so shocking when he took his own life. But that's the thing about Leo rising. It's like you would never know, because they hide it so well behind the sun. But Sting is a Leo rising, Zoe Saldana is a Leo rising, Johnny Depp, Leo rising, the Olsen twins, Leo rising, George Carlin, Tyler the Creator, Eddie Murphy. Yeah, Muhammad Ali. Really powerful personalities. Powerful personalities. O.J. Simpson. That was another shock. Wait, O.J.? How could he have done that? He doesn't seem like that type of guy. Justin Timberlake. Yeah. And then Leo Moon, Leo Moon people, they have the best posture because they're leading heart forward. They stand with their heart forward. They have a commanding presence, Leo Moon. And the new moon's going to be in Leo. We'll talk about that later this week. Let's move on to the next transit. I think you're clear about Leo. I mean, then we're going to keep talking about Leo because the third transit of the week is the Sun in Leo forming a sextile to Uranus in Gemini. Yeah. So Uranus just transited into Gemini back on July 7th. The planet of revolution, rebellion, innovation, independence, the unexpected in Gemini. Gemini's mutable air, Leo's fixed fire. Here's a spark from Tuesday to Thursday, July 22nd to the 23rd, with the exact sextile occurring the day that the Sun transits into Leo, which is Tuesday, July 22nd. This is shining a light on the individual nature of your intellect. It's connecting the heart to the mind, helping you think differently than everyone else because your heart is programmed to its own unique frequency. So how can you articulate your own unique frequency? Through your words, in a manner that maybe shocks or stuns or surprises those around you. Who around you is surprising you because they're speaking from their heart. This is invigorating the mind and invigorating the heart. You may find yourself saying something unexpected, doing something that is surprising. Be open to it. Be open to wherever the shift takes you. Do not cling to the way things have always been. This is your chance to shift the frequency. This is your chance to create something different. And as you do, there could be tension because the fourth transit of the week is Venus in Gemini squaring Mars in Virgo. Mars is the god of war, the planet of action, aggression, and conflict. Virgo is the mutable earth sign symbolized by the Virgin and also ruled by Mercury. So we have Venus transiting through Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, Mars transiting through Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. Gemini is the extroverted expression of Mercury. Virgo is the introverted expression of Mercury. This transit of Venus squaring Mars occurs all week from Monday to Friday, July 21st to the 25th, with the exact square occurring on Wednesday, which is known for Woden, which is the Old Norse god associated with the Roman god Mercury, July 23rd. So very appropriate that Venus transiting through the air sign ruled by Mercury and Mars transiting through the earth sign ruled by Mercury are going to square off on the day of Mercury, Miraculous, Macario. So as you are connecting your heart to your mind and speaking in a manner that is unexpected to those around you, or perhaps those around you are connecting their hearts to their minds and are speaking in a way that's unexpected to you, it might create tension within your relationships. The tension is rooted in the need to control your partner. You may want to control your partner because your partner is doing something unexpected. Uh-oh. Partner's doing something unexpected that I don't want them to do. I need to control them. No, you don't. Just let them be. Let them be. This is about breaking out of the control. This is about engaging in the tension in order to release the tension. So if there's conflicts occurring in your relationships this week, good. It's clearing the stagnant energy that's been festering within your relationship. It's like a house cleaning. It's like getting rid of some stuff. Do you really enjoy getting rid of things or cleaning? It's not always a fun process, but you probably feel better afterwards. If you let the clutter build for too long, it creates more tension. So this Venus in Gemini squaring Mars in Virgo is clearing the tension, the clutter that has been cluttering in your relationship and creating tension. This is clearing it out. But you only clear it out by paying attention to the tension. If you ignore the tension's going to come up and bite you. Ouch. And then maybe it's out of hand. So use this week-long transit, this week-long aspect, to pay attention to the details of what's going on in your relationship and approach it with a curious mind. I noticed that you were doing this one thing, and I'm just curious to know, what's the reason behind you fill in the blank? I'm just curious to know. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I did it because this, that, or the next thing. Okay. Maybe that quells everything, or maybe it leads into something bigger. But hopefully, releasing the tension is like opening that little filter on top of the Instant Pot or the pressure cooker. Let out the steam instead of opening it up and exploding all over the place. If you ignore it and you open it before the pressure's been released, it's going to make a mess. So this week is encouraging you to engage in the details with a curious mind in your relationships, all your relationships. The 5th, 6th, and 7th transits of the week all involve the sun, and 3 outer planets. They're all occurring at the same time, from July 22nd to the 25th, with the exact aspect occurring on Thursday the 24th. I would have included it with the sun in Leo, Sextile, Uranus, and Gemini, but that happens just a little bit before the other 3. That exact happens on Tuesday, July 22nd. But the sun is aligning in a trine with Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries, while also opposing Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So Saturn is the god of wealth and time, the planet of restriction, responsibility, hard work, achievement, and authority. Neptune is the god of fresh water and the sea, the planet of illusion, deception, compassion, and intuition. Both Saturn and Neptune are transiting retrograde through the cardinal fire signs, symbolized by the ram and ruled by Mars, Aries, while Pluto is the god of death, lord of the underworld, the planet of transformation, transiting retrograde through the fixed air sign, symbolized by the water bear and ruled by Saturn and Uranus, which the sun is aligning with both those planets. They're the planetary rulers of Aquarius. So we've been talking about the alignment between these 4 planets, Uranus in Gemini, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and Pluto in Aquarius. We've been talking about this for over 2 weeks now. And it feels like this is like when the penny drops, maybe, and the machine comes on and things start happening. So these 4 outer planets, Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto, Saturn and Neptune, that's about taking responsibility for your love nature. Are you loving yourself the way that you should be loving yourself? Are you being compassionate with yourself? Or are you being hard on yourself and unforgiving? Saturn and Neptune and Aries are saying, do you have the courage to love yourself despite the guilt, the shame, the regret, the blame that you're experiencing in your life? Do you have the courage to take responsibility to love yourself? Because in order to be loved by anyone else, you need to first love yourself. You gotta love yourself. And when you're loving yourself and you're reimagining the dream of who you are as somebody who's actually, you know what? I'm not the worst person on planet Earth. Yes, I did some things that I regret. Yes, I did some things that I'm ashamed of. Yes, I did some things that I feel guilty for. Yes, I've been blaming myself for some things. But I deserve to show myself compassion so I can integrate those thought patterns and memories with understanding, forgiveness, and love for myself. And when I'm loving myself, when I'm taking responsibility to love myself, then when you think about Uranus and Gemini, now I have the ability to think differently. I have the ability to radically listen to others, to not be threatened by the ideas of others. That actually new and different ideas they're inspiring. Wow, I never thought about it that way. Oh, you think about it like that? Okay. I don't know if I agree with that, but let me ponder that for a minute. It's not so threatening. Other people's ideas get threatening when you're carrying the guilt, the shame, the regret, the blame in you. If you are loving yourself, if you're taking responsibility to love yourself, then it's not as easy to feel threatened by other people and their ideas. You're like, okay. I can see why you see things that way. From my perspective, I don't see it that way, but I can understand why you see it that way. And yeah, I have no judgment there. That's your perspective. You have every right to have your perspective. And when you are approaching in that way, that's when you bring Pluto and Aquarius into the mix, and that's when you're changing the world. You're creating that ripple effect, the butterfly effect. A butterfly flaps its wings in the Amazon and creates a hurricane off the coast of Carolina. That's the power that you have. If you take responsibility to love yourself, if you have the courage to show yourself compassion, then you have the ability to see things radically different, to receive the radically different perspectives of others, to be open to hearing how others think. If you're in that frequency, you will change the people around you. And if you change the people around you because you've changed yourself, you will change the world. And that's where the sun comes in Leo. Because when the sun comes in Leo, it's like you're opening your heart. Where does love come from? The brain? The lungs? The kidneys? No, it comes from the heart. You know the heart emoji? How come people send the I heart emoji you? Nobody sends the I brain you emoji. I kidney you emoji. I lung you. forever and ever. I colon you for the rest of my life. No, I love you. I heart you. You're in my heart. Nobody says you're in my colon. You're in my lungs. You're in my kidneys. Some people might say you're in my brain. But that never seems to be like a good place. You know? Like, I can't get this person out of my brain. I can't get him out of my mind. But when someone's in your heart, oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel that. I have so much love for you. I feel you in my heart. So with the sun in Leo, the sign that rules the heart, aligning in the fixed fire sign of Leo, forming a trine with the cardinal fire sign of Aries to Saturn and Neptune, a sextile to Uranus in the mutable air sign of Gemini, and a sextile or an opposition to Aquarius, the fixed air sign. Your love is being drawn out. Your heart is being opened. You're saying, you know what? You'll look in the mirror and say, I love you. You've been through a lot. You haven't always done as well as you wanted to. Sometimes you've fallen far short. But thanks for sticking around. Thanks for continuing to show up day in and day out. Let's make a choice today to be better to ourselves. To recognize that we deserve to experience joy. You know, I watched a documentary with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was on Netflix maybe a year or two ago. He said the most Leo thing. They're asking him, you know, advice on life, and he's like, it's important to have fun. Have fun. Enjoy life. He's like, I've worked really, really hard. But I always make sure that I have time for fun. So what is fun for you? And are you holding yourself back from enjoying life because you feel like you don't deserve to enjoy life? This is the time to say, I deserve it. And that leads us to the final transit of the week, which involves all these other planets that we've been talking about: the Sun, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And on the same day that the Sun aligns with these planets, July 24th, is also the new moon in Leo, which happens at 12:12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time on Thursday, July 24th. This is so special. And if you're curious to learn how this new moon is affecting you directly, I encourage you to enroll in my moon cycle classes at theweeklytransit.com. This is setting your intention to enjoy life. Setting your intention to enjoy life in a manner that's worthy of your love, worthy of your compassion, worthy of your individuality. Set your intentions to shine your light and share your warmth, to inspire the people who connect with you. I feel so fortunate every week that I'm sitting here and I'm talking into a microphone in an empty room, and I know you're out there listening. I'm here to inspire you, but you inspire me. Whenever you connect with me, whether you schedule a reading, you're in a class, you send me a message, I feel your love. And so I send you love as well. This is the new moon of love. This is the new moon of taking responsibility for your love, showing yourself compassion with love, loving radically different in your own unique way, and loving with a heart so open that you transform the world around you. This is such a special time in history. The sky speaks in cycles. What looks like chaos on the ground is reflected by the rhythm above. On July 24th, 2025, the new moon in Leo ignites the sky. Sextile Uranus, Gemini, Uranus in Gemini, Trine, Saturn, and Neptune in Aries, and opposite Pluto in Aquarius. It's a configuration that crackles with fire, rebellion, and reinvention. Though this isn't an isolated celestial event, it's a mirror, a portal, a call to remember that we've been here before, again and again, when the cosmos cracked open and the world, as we knew it, changed forever. To understand what this new moon means, we must look to the past, because the future is built on the bones of what came before. Over the last 250 years, I was able to find this configuration where the new moon, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were all in active alignment. I was able to find this configuration only 3 other times in the last 250 years. 1773 to 74, 1819 to 20, and 1966 to 67. This year is the 4th, and it begins with the new moon in Leo on July 24th, 2025. Think about how different the world became between 1772 and 1775. A handful of tax protests ignited a global revolution that would birth a nation. Between 1818 and 1821, ideological empires rose and fractured. Revolutions swept across Europe and South America, and the mystical began to challenge the mechanical. Between 1965 and 68, boundaries dissolved and were redrawn politically, socially, spiritually. Civil rights, counterculture, assassinations, and spacewalks all converged under the same sky. While musically, the Beatles evolved from Help to Hey Jude, and the Stones from Satisfaction to Sympathy for the Devil. These moments weren't simply transitions. They were ruptures, portals, initiations into a new world. And now, in 2025, the alignment returns. What will break open? What will be born? 1773 to 1774, the birth of defiance. The skies were strikingly similar in the years leading to the American Revolution. On November 14th, 1773, the new moon in Scorpio formed a sextile to Pluto in Capricorn, opposed Uranus in Taurus, and aligned with Saturn and Neptune in Virgo. 1 month later, the Boston Tea Party exploded. By January 12th, 1774, the new moon in Capricorn arrived conjunct Mars and Pluto, forming a trine to Uranus and Taurus and another trine to Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node in Virgo. The architecture of empire was trembling. By March 12th, the new moon in Pisces pulled spiritual truth to the surface, sextile to both Pluto in Capricorn, Uranus in Taurus, while opposing Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node in Virgo. The revolution was no longer theoretical, it was embodied. This was not just about tax on tea. This was about who owned power, who had a voice, and what freedom was worth. Pluto in Capricorn began dismantling imperial authority. Uranus in Taurus destabilized economic systems. Neptune in Virgo called for practical idealism, and Saturn demanded it be done with discipline. In 2025, Pluto transforms the nature of Aquarius. Saturn and Neptune merge in Aries. Uranus transits along the edge of Gemini. The same archetypes, different costumes. What revolution is stirring now? 1819 to 1820, mysticism, machines, and the breaking point. The new moons of this period occurred as massive outer planetary tensions reached their peak. On September 19th, 1819, the new moon in Virgo joined Venus while forming a challenging square to Uranus and Neptune, and opposing Saturn, Chiron, and Pluto in Pisces. The Virgo-Pisces axis lit up with polarity, logic versus faith, hygiene versus disease, reality versus illusion. By December 16th, 1819, the new moon in Sagittarius became conjunct with both Uranus and Neptune, while also squaring Saturn, Chiron, and Pluto in Pisces. Ideologies clashed like titans. Dreams and doctrines wrestled for the soul of the future. These were the years when the old world buckled and the new struggled to emerge. In 1819, Simón Bolívar was liberating the northern half of South America from Spanish colonial rule. The Congress of Vienna's post-Napoleonic order was unraveling. German students were demanding constitutional reforms across the Holy Roman Empire. British authorities responded to worker protests in Manchester with the Peterloo Massacre, killing dozens and injuring hundreds in the name of maintaining order. By March 14th, 2020, the new moon in Pisces became conjunct with Chiron and Pluto, while forming a square to Uranus and Sagittarius. It was a moment of ideological madness, when dreams were forced into doctrine and freedom was flattened into fanaticism. Just prior to the new moon in Pisces, the United States saw a stirring of what would become the Missouri Compromise, an attempt to preserve the illusion of unity amid deepening division over slavery. In 1820, Maine entered the Union as a free state, paired with Missouri's admission as a slave state, maintaining a fragile and fateful balance. It was a time of great tension between the sacred and the secular, the state and the soul. New religious and esoteric movements began to flourish. The Romantic movement reached its peak, rebelling against the mechanical sterility of the industrial age and returning to the mystical, the emotional, the divine. Today we stand in a similar paradox. AI dreams of replacing humanity. Spirituality is commodified on every platform. And in the shadow of control, people reach for something real. 1966 to 1967. Ghosts, gods, and the cracking of control. The new moons of September 14th and November 12th, 1966 and January 10th, 1967 weren't just astrologically intense. They were a psychic rupture. Virgo, Scorpio, and Capricorn held these powerful lunar resets with Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, and Chiron in hard aspect. These were transits of purification, paranoia, and rebirth. On September 14th, 1966, the new moon in Virgo became conjunct with Mercury. Uranus and Pluto formed a sextile to Neptune in Scorpio and opposed Saturn and Chiron in Pisces. That day, a West German submarine, once part of Nazi Germany's fleet, sank in the North Sea. A sealed past came undone. Only one man survived. At the same time, Gemini 11 soared 848 miles above the Earth, higher than any humans had gone before. One man looked down and saw an entire continent. Two men fell asleep with the sunrise behind their eyelids, above and below, life and death, vision and wreckage. They danced in sync with the sky. This was the moon of ghosts and gods, of buried trauma and cosmic awakening. By November 12th, the new moon in Scorpio joined Venus and Neptune, forming a trine to Saturn and Chiron in Pisces, and a sextile to Mars, Uranus, and Pluto in Virgo. It was a dreamy new moon, but one that revealed the rot beneath the dream. That night, the Sunset Strip riots erupted in West Hollywood. Young people, artists, and celebrities like Jack Nicholson and Peter Fonda protested a city curfew that tried to silence their nights. Venus in Scorpio doesn't go quietly. It sings, it screams, it seduces rebellion. But not all echoes were noble. That same day, an 18-year-old boy in Arizona walked into a beauty college and murdered 5 people, driven by the sick desire for fame, inspired by the media coverage of previous mass killers. It was the shadow side of visibility. Venus and Neptune's seductive delusion twisted through Scorpio's obsession with death. Meanwhile, 5 grave diggers in West Virginia claimed they saw a winged man rise from the trees. 3 days later, more sightings followed. The Mothman was born, a modern omen, a myth for a frightened generation. The final moon of this cycle came on January 10th, 1967 in Capricorn, conjunct Mercury, forming a square to Mars in Libra, a trine to Uranus and Pluto in Virgo, and a sextile to Saturn and Chiron in Pisces. The system was at a breaking point. That day, the U.S. House of Representatives voted to block Congressman Adam Clayton Powell Jr. from taking his seat. It was racial politics cloaked in procedural language. Elsewhere, Georgia's legislature overrode the popular vote to install segregationist Lester Maddox as governor. But on the same day, Edward Brooke of Massachusetts was seated as the first popularly elected black senator in U.S. history. Capricorn governs structure, power, rules. The moon showed us the system under stress, repressing and releasing, rising and crumbling, a seesaw of justice and hypocrisy. President Johnson, delivering the State of the Union, called for more taxes to fund the Vietnam War. He promised agony and cost. Meanwhile, the Bahamas shifted. For the first time, a black-led coalition took political control from the white elite. Another empire cracked. The sky was erupting with contradictions, ghosts and gods, submarines and satellites, riots and rights. And through it all, the new moon marked turning points in how we serve, suffer, and evolve. 2025. The lion roars again. The new moon in Leo on July 24th, 2025 is not soft. It arrives forming a trine to Saturn and Neptune and Aries, the very combination that defines this era. And a sextile to Uranus and Gemini, the trickster electrician who last danced in this sign during World War II. Opposing Pluto and Aquarius, this moon challenges the collective to confront its shadow. It asks, what happens when identity becomes technology? When power becomes algorithm? When pride becomes programming? Leo rules the self, the heart, the performer, the sovereign. But Pluto in Aquarius asks us to give it all away, to serve the group, the future, the code. Saturn and Neptune and Aries ignite a war between fantasy and form. Uranus in Gemini splits the mind open. And this new moon says pick a side. Or better yet, rewrite the script entirely. So what does this mean for us? We are living in a time that echoes 1773, 1820, 1966, not just in astrology, but in spirit. Each alignment then initiated a chain reaction that reshaped the world, not only geopolitically, but philosophically, spiritually, and personally. The collective is agitated. Truth is fragmenting, and beneath the noise, a deeper rhythm is building. This new moon is the heartbeat of history, pounding in your chest, inviting you to reflect. What are you loyal to? What is ready to die so something more true can live? Are you the sovereign of your soul or just playing a role? What revolution are you participating in, consciously or not? Because revolutions don't always look like war. Sometimes they look like new myths. Sometimes they begin with the whisper of a question. And sometimes they start with a new moon. I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope this inspires you through the week ahead. And I'll look forward to reconnecting with you next week. Thank you for listening to the Weekly Transit. If you're curious to learn how these transits or any other transits may be affecting you, or if you're interested in learning more about your astrological code, contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. This episode was produced by me, Scott Tajarian. Music written by Ben Leinbach from Listen Deep by Amber Herzog-Lyman. Wishing you all the best as you ride the planetary waves.